Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. If you can hear me and you can see me, it would mean the world to me if you could let me in the comments, let me know because I'm using new instruments and I just want to make sure the audio is good, the video is good. I would really appreciate it. If you're new to my page, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. I could not be happier to welcoming in newer people into my world. My name is Shahrzad Parandeh. I'm a double certified relationship coach, and also I'm a trauma-informed practitioner that is over the past 2 years have really become more and more and more practiced in helping people to be able to heal their past, heal their stuff from the past, to be able to create a life for themselves that they feel fully fulfilled in. So, welcome in. Thank you for being here with me today. I have a lot that I want to cover today. To be honest with you, when I first said, okay, I'm going to go live tomorrow and to talk about manifestation, it felt like a normal thing that I was going to do, like I normally do. But the more I contemplate on it and what I want to share with you, the more like my notebook got filled with ideas and everything that I want to be able to convey to you and help you to really see the difference, the logistics of why it is that when it comes to manifestation, when we are manifesting, that when it comes to smaller things that are not that they don't matter, because I think that every manifestation that we have matters to us, but when it comes to things that are really truly meaningful to us, when it comes to things that when we think of them, having them, it lights up our entire hearts and our bodies. And when it comes to imagining not having them, then it breaks our hearts. It feels like my life will not be fulfilled. It will not be complete if I actually live my life without that. So I really wanted to bring that forward because that is something that over the past few years I have been deepening more and more in my own experience, in my studies, in my coaching practice with my own clients and in my own life. So I wanted to bring it forward with you and hopefully really help you to see what the difference is and what needs to be done. So I'm just going to share a little bit with you that similar to most people, and you can by all means tell me in the comments when it comes to your manifestation journey, when you were learning about manifestation, what was that like for you? But like most people, in when I first started to learn about it, I was introduced by the book The Secret. Someone suggested it to me. I read it and I thought that, oh my goodness, like how was this information, how I never knew this. My God, everything in my life is going to be so much easier now I can have everything that I've ever wanted and it's going to be perfect, it's going to be amazing, it's going to be a piece of cake. It gives you that sense of liberation, that feeling of I'm unstoppable, and it's a beautiful feeling, isn't it, when you feel like you can truly create the reality that you desire. You get to have everything that you want. It And there are certain ways of tools and ways of thinking and being that is going to help you there. Then it makes you wake up differently in the morning, and that's certainly how it was for me. And also I remember reading another book, and I highly recommend it. It's a great book. It's called E Squared by Pam Grout. I don't know exactly the pronunciation of her last name, but in that book there were 9 experiments. Was it 9 or 10? Doesn't matter. There were actual experiments that you would read a chapter on, basically learning about the tool, and then you could do an experiment on how to actually now go ahead and manifest it. And I loved it because I think that every single one of those experiments that I did, I was able to manifest. So, for example, one of them I always remember it. I was in Philippines actually. I was traveling and I was reading the book, And in that book, in one of the experiments, it was after reading about the preceding chapter, and then to the going to the experience, that to expect to receive a gift within 24 hours. Expect that you're going to receive a gift within 24 hours of basically reading it. I'm like, okay, let's put it into practice. Let's do it. I'm in Philippines for work. I don't know who's going to give me a gift. I'm here for work, but let's make it happen. Let's see if it's going to happen. And that evening, the clients that I was there, that basically I was there to help them with learning our systems. I was in the corporate world and mapping industry. They came over and they brought this beautiful bottle. I had the from a drink that we had the previous day, and every single one of the clients had actually written a note for me on that bottle with a marker thanking me. And I I've never, like, I've had been traveling forever for work. I actually never had received a gift from any of my clients while I was training them. So I still have the bottle. I'll take a picture of it, and maybe later today on Instagram, I'll post a picture of it. But I was like, oh my goodness, this stuff really works. This stuff really, really, really works. And I was so excited. I was so happy about it. And tell me in the chat if you've had experiences like that. When it came to manifestation, you did it, it happened really quickly, it made you feel really good, and you had that feeling of I can manifest anything, I can have everything done. E Squared by Pam Garrett. Let me see if I can actually pull that up for you. So there we go. Yeah, and I can just put it in the chat so you can go ahead and get it if it feels good to you. I won't put the Amazon because I think if you're in your different country, then it might be different. But this is basically the name of the book. I love it. Found a gold bracelet while walking my dog. Good, love it. So when it came to learning these techniques, when it came to learning about manifestation, it was at first, like I said, truly liberating. It felt like now whatever it is that what I want, I can have. Whatever it is that I desire, it gets to be that easy. If I can, and you hear it in the book Secret that they say, the I forget which teacher it was that said it, is that there is no difference between manifesting a castle than it is manifesting a button. It just depends, um, based on your level of resistance, how much can you believe that that could happen to you. So with that knowledge, with that information, I'm like, well, okay, so all I need to do is to get rid of the resistance, and I can actually manifest anything and everything that I want. And for a lot of things in my life, it worked. For a lot of things, from manifesting, winning something, to when it comes to upgrades. Oh, I am the queen of getting upgrades. When it comes to traveling, when it comes to getting upgrades for my tickets, airline tickets, or getting upgrades in the hotels, easy, no problem. When it comes to manifesting something that I see that I really want, a prize, that whether it's a water bottle, easy, no problem. And to be honest with you, when it came to manifesting, even starting my own business, when I first started my own business, within the first 4 months of starting my own business, I was making more money than I was making in my corporate job, which isn't a typical thing that happens for a lot of people. And I loved it. And I also was facing things that weren't coming as quickly. Manifesting things that when it came they held a lot of meanings for me. When they felt like, and this is what I want you to actually see the difference, is that whether or not, one of the experiments I remember also in the e-squirt, I think, was seeing a butterfly or finding a feather. And I'm going to use that as an example for you to see that And I manifested the feather, the perfect feather that I imagined. I was on a walk and I saw it and I found it and I was like jumping off the walls. I was so happy about it. But I want you to think about it from this perspective. Do you think that if I hadn't manifested um, that feather, or if I didn't manifest that bottle with all my clients signing, would that have broken my heart? Would that not manifesting those things, it may have felt disappointing. Oh, I really wish. What am I doing wrong? Is this something that I'm not doing, or is this the stuff is not real? Maybe that would have been the experience of it. Yeah. But when it came to actually, when you look at it and say that, would I have been crying on the bathroom floor if that didn't happen? Would that make me feel like, what am I going to do if this doesn't happen for me? What am I going to do with my life if I don't manifest that feather? No, that's not the experience that we would have when it comes to manifesting things that the the biggest thing that we might feel, the extent of our feeling around something might be disappointment. It might be, oh, shucks, I wish it did. Maybe I can learn something new and see, or forget about it. All that there is to it is that. Do you see what I mean? But when it comes to bigger things in life, let's say that when it comes to your you really are at the stage in your life, you are in your late 30s, you're in your 40s, and you truly want to manifest the love of your life. You are tired of being single, you are tired of meeting men that lead you on, and they say all the right things but then they break your heart. You're really tired of it and you truly desire to have that beautiful relationship. And that is something that, whether or not, when you're actively trying to manifest it, when you're actively doing everything that you possibly can, the thought of not having it, it could be heartbreaking. It could make you feel like, I will not have the full experience that I wish to have as in my human life in this world if I didn't have it. Or let's say if you are actually in a situation, in a financial situation that you're really trying to get yourself out of it, when you have a lot of debt and it's pressing, it feels like that your debt is going up and then you don't foresee the enough money that is coming in, and the thought of not being able to be relieved from all this burden is really, really feeling like it's crushing you. So, that kind of a feeling, when it comes to a desire like that, when it comes to a feeling of, if it doesn't happen, it actually is going to be not just disappointment for me, not just feeling sad for a minute, but it matters a lot to me. I cannot imagine going on like this. That's when the stakes are really high. That's when things start to feel really different. Does that make sense? And this is the where I was going with my business part. In complete honesty with you, when I was starting my own business, I had a full-time job. I had an amazing corporate job that I had no stress around money. Yeah. So when it came to having my desire of creating my new business, and it was a desire, but there was no pressure for me to succeed. There was no pressure that by this time you need to be making this much money. Otherwise, how are you going to pay your mortgage? How are you going to be able to provide for yourself? What are you going to do if you don't do it? So, because of that, obviously there are other aspects that go into creating and starting a business and actually succeeding in it, but in the aspect of the manifestation of it, what I want you to see, that desire, because the other side of it wasn't going to leave me feeling so pressured, so burdened, so heartbroken, it made things a lot easier. Does that make sense? So I want you to think about it from this perspective. I want you to see that there is a reason that when it comes to manifesting a trip, winning the certain prize, or when it comes to finding something on the ground. It's so fun. It's so exciting. Having a client come in out of nowhere, it's so fun and exciting. But when it comes to something that could change the course of your life, something that you are thinking about it day and night, it holds a lot of meaning to you. It makes a lot of in your heart, it puts things into, I can't imagine not having it. I can't imagine my life without it. Then that's where it comes. What do we notice? When we want something more than anything, what are we most aware of if we are not actively working on it? What we're most aware of when something hasn't happened yet, it's absence of it. And that's reason number one. The reason number one why manifesting what we most desire in life is harder than things that we are manifesting for fun, we are manifesting because it's a cool experience, is because when I am wanting something more than anything else, and it could be a health issue, yes. It could be something that is about your health, that you are manifesting full health, you're manifesting something that that truly is life or no life. That kind of feeling, what you are constantly battling with is noticing that it hasn't happened yet, noticing that it is something that it's not there yet. I'm glad. So when you're constantly aware of the absence, and absence equals lack, now what do we know about the energetics of manifestation? What do we know about law of attraction? Is that you continue to attract into your life what you're sending out, what you are aware of. That's why I want you to think of it. What you're constantly aware of creates the energy force that is within you. And if you're constantly aware of the absence of the money, absence of the soulmate, the absence of the baby, the absence of financial freedom, the absence of whatever it is that you're desiring to create, then you are very much anchored into that energy of lack, that energy that is a frequency of what it's not there as opposed to what's already there. But because what we know about law of attraction, or even the law of assumption, is that you live from a place that you already have it, and then you, with that level of gratitude, with that level of freedom that you would feel, because that's, let's face it, that's what we essentially think how we're going to feel. If I'm financially free, how am I going to feel? If I have my soulmate, how am I going to feel? When I do have my baby in my arms, how am I going to feel? When I can go anywhere in the world and never have to worry about money again, how am I going to feel? All these things, when we think that when we have those things, this is how I'm going to feel, it's going to be very different than where I am right now and focusing on what's not there, what hasn't happened yet. And that makes the biggest difference between manifesting something that your life is not going to change all that much with a feather, with an upgrade to a nice hotel room, with getting a free course, even, although you could make a different, make that something that changes your life. Actually, any of that you can. But if you're not conscious of it, if you're not actively thinking that in this moment of time, what am I aware of the most, what am I noticing the most, then it is going to be so much easier to just get out of the manifestation zone and be more focused in your human experience of seeing that what I want is not there yet. What can I do? What can I do? What else can be done? What if it doesn't happen? And we're going back and forth, and we're going to moments of, okay, let me just feel, let's get rid of all the anxiety and feel the feelings of already having it and feeling the gratitude of it. And then something happens and boom, we come out of the vortex. We're immediately coming back. Somebody says something, we see something online, we see something else that we're not doing, and then we're woof, out of the vortex and back into the human reality of feeling of this is not happening yet. This is not, I don't know when that's going to happen. And that's a huge thing in our vortex of manifestation when it comes to being aware of our desire and the joy that we would feel, or are we anchored into the lack of it? Now, the second thing that makes the manifestation of what we want the most in life, as opposed to things that are not that grand, they're not that meaningful to us, is the inability to trust and letting go. And by trust and letting go, I don't mean that you just think of something once and then you never think of it again, because that's not how I manifest, actually. That has never been the case for me. That has been, some people can do it, kudos to them. But for me, as somebody that is, very intentional, that's not how I've been manifesting. But what I do know is that when I'm trying to manifest a feather, I'm not sitting here overthinking what can I do? Do I need to go to the park? Do I need to go to a chicken coop? Like, what do I do in order to make that happen? It's not that me sitting around and trying to control the situation, to the T. It's that it looks like I can, okay, this would be really fun to have it. I would love it. I want it to look like this. I want it to feel like this. I can imagine it and I can feel it, and it's not going to consume me for the rest of the day. I'm not going to look up 50 different YouTube videos that it's what's going to help me to get to that. It doesn't work like that. But when it's a burning desire, when it is something that you want so much in your life, and tell me if you haven't done this, you want something, you are in constant search of where is my next answer is going to be. Is it going to come this way? Is it going to come that way? These are the steps that I have to take to make that happen. We are getting into the driver's seat and trying to control the situation in every way that we can in order to be able to make it happen. And that goes against the whole being able to let go, being able to actually let ourselves desire and be open to taking the next actions. I'm not saying to not take any actions on that, but there's a difference between taking the actions that feels inspiring to you as opposed to taking actions that feel like spiraling, that you're doing it for the sake of making it happen. You can't trust that it will happen. You don't feel like if what you're doing is enough. There's always that feeling of, is it happening now? Is it happening yet? What are the signs? Show me signs. And that's another thing that when it comes to manifestation, I love Gabby Bernstein. She talks about ask for signs, that your manifestation on its way. But I remember for one of my specific desires that I was so forcing signs that I'm like, Shahrzad, you gotta be kidding me. This is not it. This is not asking universe for a sign. This is, let's say, like, oh, my sign is a butterfly and I'm going to Pinterest and looking up for butterflies and say, is this a sign? Like, that's not it. Like, that makes it be like, I'm trying to force it, make it so that it makes sense to me, but it doesn't. Let me see what that makes a total sense. Oh, that's good. Yes, exactly. Constantly searching and thinking about it. Yeah, that is coming from a place of distrust. That's coming from my experience of this, my experience of being with my desire is that if I'm not in control, I'm not going to get it. If I am not taking all that I need to, the actions that I need to take, everything that I need to think of, otherwise it's not going to happen for me. And that causes sending out the signal of what? Every time I'm talking about a block here, I want you to think of, like, in the first case scenario, what we were sending out, what we were focusing on was the fact that we are too much in lack and scarcity. Now, in this particular situation, though, what we are sending, what the energy that we are sending out is distressed, not enough. I'm not doing enough. If I don't do more, it's never going to happen. That needing to be in control. We want here we are trying to manifest our what we want the most in life. We want to incorporate this beautiful law that we know that whether or not we do anything about it, it's going to happen. Just like the gravity, if I don't have to make this phone drop, like if I have to let go, it will drop. I don't have to go look up the formula, what is the gravitational force on earth right now, whether it will or will not. No, I know that this is going to happen. But when it comes to manifesting our desires, we're like, I need to be in the driver's seat, I need to be in full control here, because if I'm not, what if it doesn't happen? What am I going to do if time is running out? If one more year comes and I don't have it? If one more, I'll go on one more date that the guy turns out to be a jerk, how am I going to be able to handle all of this? How am I can't do this anymore. So we have this need to be in control, which is clashes with one of the most important parts of our manifestation process, which is being able to trust and let go. So do you see again the difference between being able to trust and let go when you want to manifest a little gift from somebody, when you want to manifest a free coffee or a parking spot? That is not going to make you obsess over it. That is not going to make you think of that you need to be in control of making it happen, because if you don't, you will not live a full life. But when it comes to those big desires, when it comes to something that is, I'm going to say it over and over, that is going to break your heart when you feel like you're not going to have it, that's when process of letting go is very different. It requires a next level of discipline and being able to calm that nervous system in such a way that you are more and more and more sending out that I do believe if I have been given the desire, it means it's going to happen for me. Believing in that truth, because the truth is, if you have been given a desire in the infinite world of possibilities, there are equal amounts of possibilities for that desire not to happen. Now, I want to make something really clear. This is something that this is a big conversation. They say that if you want something, if you desire something, it means it will happen for you. It only is it so if you believe in that reality, because you could have a very self-fulfilling prophecy for yourself that whatever it is that I want, it doesn't happen for me. It happens for other people and it doesn't happen for me. Whatever it is that I try, other people get it before me. They have it, they have more resources, they are better than me, or whatever the case it is, that gets to be your reality. For everything that you want in this world, there's infinite ways of receiving it and there's infinite ways of not receiving it. But it all depends on what frequency are you tuning into, what you are locking into. Does that make sense? Now, the third one that I want to talk to you about, which is a really big topic here, and I have been studying it so much, is you're going to think that you know what I mean, but I bet that you don't when I break it down this way. And that is your subconscious, not just beliefs, but your subconscious patterns. Now, the first thing that when we say about whether, the subconscious, whatever it is that you think is possible or not possible for you, that you think that that's the limiting belief. Okay, if I have a limiting belief around something that is not going to happen for me, then sure, like I need to break that thought, that limiting belief, and that means that it's going to happen. Yeah, that's the normal way that we think of limiting beliefs. That my subconscious has all these programmings that when it comes to my belief system or what I think is possible for me and what's not possible for me, then that will run the show. So I have to go ahead and reprogram my subconscious. And by the way, that is true. Believing in what's possible for you is a must. It's an absolute must. However, there is a layer that is much deeper than what the mainstream talks about. And that is your subconscious trigger patterns. Your subconscious trigger patterns, and I'm going to explain this to you because, like I said, you may have not heard this before. You may have if you've been in this my world for a while, but this is something that we talk about behind the scenes mostly. And that the trigger patterns, I'm going to be telling you different types of trigger patterns, and I would love for you to be able to have an honest conversation with yourself and see, oh, that is my trigger pattern. Oh, that's how I normally feel. This is what I normally do. Because this if you don't have trigger patterns, I'm sorry, you're not human. And what I mean by that is that our triggers, I like to give them a better name, which is our protectors. Our inner protectors that we developed over the years in order to be able to when something happens that feels threatening to us, in order for us to be able to protect ourselves and to adapt in this world. So this happens when you are in an open receptive state in your life. Whether you were a little girl or later on in life, you were in a completely open, relaxed, receptive state, and something happened that shocked your system, and you closed off. And in other words, it's called trauma. Now, when I say trauma, you might think that, oh, you mean a car crash? You mean if somebody abused me? You mean that if I was abandoned by my parents and I was left? All of that can be true. Those are big T's. Those are big trauma words. But trauma doesn't mean that something horrific, it doesn't just mean that something horrific happened to you. It could mean that you were a little girl in front of a class, and you were talking about, your teacher was asking you a question, and you were pretty relaxed, and you gave an answer, and everybody started laughing at you. What do you think happens that when you, an innocent child that is in front of the class, says something and feels the whole class is laughing at her? That humiliation that she feels, that feeling that I'm not good enough, that immediately needs to close down. The vulnerability that was exposed, in order for you to feel protected, you're going to immediately start to have an inner protector to now come up with a defense mechanism to not feel this way ever again, to not be in this situation ever again. That is when our inner protector get developed, our defense mechanism gets developed, but it's not necessarily coming from our intelligent selves. It doesn't mean that you sat there and thought about it and you say, you know what? I am never going to actually speak up again, because there is a chance that other people will laugh at me. Other people will make me feel ridiculed. You don't think that. It was a subconscious mechanism. And then now you have a big desire, you have a burning desire to be able to have your online business, and you can't get yourself to go and speak on live streams. You have you do not remember what happened. You don't think that that has been the case, but I'm just giving you an example of how then something that happened to you in the past, or a self-defense mechanism that you developed in the past, because of that trauma, you have a trauma response that now when it comes to you being able to go for what you desire, you block it. You either don't get online, or somehow you start to manifest the same self-fulfilling prophecy, that you get online and you get a bunch of trolls, and that feels really, really painful, and that reinforces that trauma response. Or you find yourself to not being able, no matter how many times you get online, no matter times how many times you put yourself out there, nobody comes and watches your stories, your lives. So a subconscious way of getting in your way of manifestation is a trigger pattern that you have that it's still running the show. Is this making sense? Let me know in the comments, because if something doesn't make sense, I'm always here to break it down further and further for you, so I can help you to really for land for you. Because we think that when it comes to you know inner work, it ends with like, I'm just going to decide that I'm going to be seen. I'm going to be seen. It's okay for me to be seen. It is okay. I feel like I'm going to be safe to be seen, and I'm going to put myself out there. But if that inner protector is fully in charge, and it's like, this is, hey, this is how I've been able to protect your heart. This is how I've been able to make sure that what happened to you doesn't happen again. Then we need to do this. And when defense mechanism come online, when your trigger patterns, protectors come online, they cut you off from your desires. And when I go through these trigger patterns, then you're going to, it needs contemplation. This is why this is not a normal, just live stream, listen to it. What I actually need from you is your contemplation on these. What I want from you is to actually be able to pinpoint, okay, which one of these is mine. And by the way, you could have multiple. I definitely do. And your trigger responses could be very different from one person to another person. The way that your system gets in defense mechanism with close family could be very different than the way that your defense mechanism gets when it is somebody, on the street yelling at you. So I want you to remember it. So the very first trigger pattern, what I like to call, is the Frosty Queen. So this will happen when this is your trigger pattern. If you find yourself that when something happens that you don't like, what your trigger system does is that you cut off and you go into stonewalling. You get very quiet. You say you're fine. You say that it's okay, I'm fine. And on the outside, there is this feeling of wall, and the person can feel that wall. That person can say, I know you're not fine. I know something is wrong. But your silence is used as a punishment to the other person. You have cut off that energy exchange in order to create a bubble for yourself to go inward. And internally, though, you're feeling a lot, but you don't like to show it. You do not want to show that vulnerability. So tell me if that is you. Do you stonewall? Do you say you're fine when you're not fine? Do you find yourself creating an emotional distance between you and the other person, or whatever the situation is, in order to protect yourself? The Frosty Queen, that's her way of dealing with things. That trigger pattern is the disconnect. Now, the disconnect Here's the thing with when it comes to the manifestation, right? We're like, what does that have to do with me when I get cold and when I get distant? So when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to going for our biggest desires, one of the main things is for us to be able to stay connected to our emotions and our authenticity with our feelings, to be able to express feelings and emotions, to be able to have, because what is it that actually attracts things to us? Our energy field, our feelings. But if you're cutting off, if you're closing off, if you're putting up a wall, then that energy flow is cut off. And when you have a trigger pattern within you, this is not something that you feel once in a blue moon. If trigger patterns are, you're going to get triggered throughout the day. And that could be that it's not just it's happening with the other person. Whenever you feel sort of, you may feel overwhelmed by emotions, your go-to place is that I'm fine, everything's fine. And there is the front and the inside a complete, the what's outside and what's inside are in incongruency. So that will cut you off from being able to actually really feel your feelings and process your feelings and come back to a place of neutral. You see, I avoid offering live group coaching. I just really don't want to, even though people keep asking me, I wonder what trauma has caused this. So you don't have to, by the way, wonderful question. You don't have to figure out what caused it. But what you want to look at is that when I'm in that situation, what comes up for me? If I find myself in front of people coaching them, what is it that I'm afraid that is going to happen? So a lot of times, the difference between this kind of work and therapy, by the way, is that in therapy is like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. That happened to me and this is now happening to me. And then therefore I put the two and two together. Great. But now what? But in this kind of work, you don't really have to. I'm using examples of how something may get developed, but things may happen to us that we were infants that we don't remember. Things might have happened that your memory has completely blocked it because it was too much. You don't remember, but you do not have to remember a trauma in order to know that this is a trigger pattern that I have developed in order to protect myself. Now, what am I protecting myself from? Yeah. So that's the first one. The second trigger pattern that we have, some of us might have, is the defiant. So the defiant archetype is similar to the Frosty Queen, but the defiant has this energy of I don't care about anyone. What you may notice with this person is that this person with this trigger pattern is very quick to cut people off. If there is something that happens to her best friend did something, she's not going to have a conversation about it. She's not going to actually lean in. She's like, F this. I don't need this. I don't need her in my life. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't need her in my life. Or whether it's in dating, when that happens, that whenever at the first sign of something that she doesn't like that it happens, she throws the baby out with the bathwater. She wants nothing to do with him anymore. That was it. No care in the world. She has this F off energy that she gives off. Don't touch me. I'm untouchable. I'm not going to be bothered by this. A self sense of I don't need anyone. I don't need anything. I don't want to deal with anything. I'm so reliant on myself. I'm super independent and it's going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to redo all of it. I'm going to find a brand new friend. I'm going to start my business all over again. My clients hurt me. F them. I don't need them anymore. I'm just going to carry on and do everything all at once. So this kind of pattern is coming from a place of in order for me to protect myself, I need to not show that I care. I need to not admit to myself that I care. I need to protect myself at all costs and immediately get rid of anything and anyone that is not, that is feels like a threat to me. So vulnerability is not a thing for them. And in both cases of the Frosty Queen and the Defiant, can you see that if your desire is to manifest love, if your desire, if your burning desires is to make things better with your husband, with your partner, with your kids, with your family, if you wanting to manifest that, do you see how that would get in the way of creating that? If you have the walls up, or you have that energy towards people, um sorry, I was reading a comment that wasn't that directed to me, but that's basically is going to close off what you want as a manifestation. A lot of women come to me specifically for love, manifesting love and relationships. They specifically want to manifest that, but when you look at their trigger patterns, that when they go right into to closing off, the silent treatment, or when they go into I don't need you, I don't want you, then they immediately cut themselves off from being able to manifest what they want to manifest. So that's the second archetype. Let me know if you have seen any of these tendencies within yourself, or people around you, because I certainly, when it comes to these two archetypes, they're not necessarily me, but I've known a lot of people. I know a lot of people in my own life that they are very quick to cut people off the minute someone steps out of line in their perspective, and then the relationship is completely over. Now, the third one that I very much have resonated with for a very long time, that I continuously work through, is the trigger pattern of a people pleaser. So this person, it's actually really hard for other people to identify that she's triggered. Why? Because she's a peacemaker. Because she is somebody that always tries to make everything, she's non-confrontational. She doesn't want to rock the boat whatsoever. She's sweet, she's gentle, she's very agreeable. So with that sense of being a super, I'm all about the peace, I'm all about the harmony, then she is way more likely to go unnoticed. She may see, this is a very socially liked archetype, isn't it? Because if you are a people pleaser, if you're somebody that is a peacemaker and you're non-confrontational, then the chances are that people are going to really like you. And that's what the people pleaser wants more than anything. Like me. Please like me. Please make sure that I know exactly who you want me to be and how you want me to act, so then I can be who you want me to be, so that we can get along really, really well. So in your people pleasing trigger pattern, which, like I said, is hello, my name is Shahrzad. I'm a recovering people pleaser. This archetype, the way that she disconnects herself from her manifestation power, from what she wants the most in life, is that she sends out the energy that actually what I want does not matter. If what I want in any shape or form will piss someone off, that they're going to be mad at me, then I don't want it, even though she doesn't know that she is doing it, even though she's completely unaware of it. But what's happening is that because in her energetic signature, in her trigger response is that what I care the most about is for other people to be happy with me, for other people to approve of me, for other people to not get mad at me. Therefore, what I need in this world is for everyone else's needs to be met and for me to be whoever they want me to be, for me to say what they want to say, for me to want and act how they want me to act, then all will be okay. Now, when it comes to authenticity, when it comes to the energy flow, what do you think that kind of an energetic signature is going to send out to the universe? When it comes to wanting your biggest things in life, when the highest vibration of any energy is truth. Truth goes above love. They say that a lot of people think love is the highest vibration of frequency, but actually the truth is. Your truth is the highest has the highest frequency. If they've measured the energies of the potency of something, then it is it is a truth that ranks the highest. So if you're not truthful within yourself, because people pleasers are not very truthful, and I say it with a lot of conviction because that has been something that I had to work through a lot continuously, is that if I would, because I'm so afraid of confrontation, I will say and do whatever you want me to, but it's not because that's my authentic truth. It's because I'm trying to manipulate you to do what manipulate you to show me who you want me to be, so then I would feel okay. It's not about you actually getting what you want. It is about me not feeling like anybody's mad at me feeling like I'm not in trouble. So that inauthenticity absolutely will not work for somebody who wants to be in a loving, healthy relationship. Hence, that was a huge struggle for me until I really worked on it. When it came to manifesting love, that was my biggest struggle at that time, because I was the poster child of people pleasers. I was the one that I would do and be and say whatever a man wanted, thinking that that's how they're going to fall in love with me. When every single one of them are like, nope, that's not it. That's not a trustworthy woman. That woman who says and does whatever she thinks I want to do is not truthful, and I can't trust her. So I want you to have that in mind. If that is your archetype, let me know. Shahrzad, I love your 12-step talk. I'm in multiple 12-step programs. I'm glad. Thank you for telling me that. Let me take a sip of water. So the peacemaker, the people pleaser, the energetic signature that she also has is a lot of fears. She is full of fears. She has this fear of, am I going to get into trouble now? Is that person going to be upset with me? If I write this, who's this going to piss off? If I say this, who's that going to upset? If I don't do this, what's that going to do? This is every action, every moment of the day. It's almost like a constant inner protector. Do this, so she'll like you. Do that, so he won't be mad at you. Hide that, so they don't know that you do this, and they would judge you. It's a people pleaser is a constant reaction on the inside, and filled with fears and anxiety, filled with, when it comes to manifestation, one of the most important aspect of it is a stability and regulated nervous system. And a people pleaser is not in a regulated nervous system. It's always like 12 steps ahead of other people, trying to figure out what she should do, what she should say, how she should act in order to be able um, to manage everyone else's feelings so that she would feel okay. Now, the next one is the opposite of by the way, any peacemaker, people pleasers in the chat? No? Am I the only one? Usually I have a lot of people who are drawn to my work, that they can definitely resonate with that people pleaser tendency. Okay. So the next trigger pattern that we have that is the opposite of the peacemaker is someone that has a very dominating energy when they are triggered, and they deflect like they're playing ping pong. If they did something wrong, the minute that they feel threatened that, oops, I did something wrong, they are quick to make the other person feel bad. So, for example, you are driving with a person that almost runs a red light, and you scream and they stop because you're terrified for your life. And that person starts yelling at you that, what's wrong with you? Don't you realize yelling and screaming, that made me almost run the red light. I was going to stop. I was going to stop. And they come at you with this energy, with this force of that domination that puts so much fear in your body. If you are in the presence of someone that is dominating and deflecting. I definitely have this in me when my worst trigger happens. Thank you for your honesty. Currently in a Dependence Anonymous, I'm recovering from people pleasing. And that's huge. That is huge when it comes to the especially children of alcoholics. The only way, and this is why I want you to see that all of these are protectors, because in order for whether it's an alcoholic or if they had an abusive parent, that in order for the child to stay safe in that toxic household, the only way that the child could be was to develop people pleasing so that they would actually be safe. Yeah, they would be safe in that environment. So that inner protector was developed in order for me to be a few steps ahead to make sure that I'm not going to get hurt. So that was developed as a protector. That was exactly why that happened, because then it made you be able to be safe in that household. And when it comes to that dominating deflector, when that person, 99% of the times that I've worked with anybody with a trigger pattern of um, the dominating deflector is because there was an abusive parent in the house, or a parent type, someone that had that same tendency, and they did the same thing, that when it came to taking personal responsibility, when they did something wrong, there was such deep insecurity, because that's where it comes from. When you're deeply insecure about something, and I say we because we all have so many of them, and let's be honest, there is no zero judgment about any trigger pattern here, because all of them have been developed from our unconscious self in order to make us feel safe. None of them are calculated. None of them are like, let me get dominating. Let me make the other person feel bad. It's a knee-jerk reaction. It is that I feel so deeply insecure because if I admit that I did something wrong, that I made a mistake, that makes me look stupid. That makes me look weak. That makes me look whatever it is. And a lot of most, this particular archetype is more common in men than it is in women. Not that women don't have it, obviously we have it too, but it is very common because to them vulnerability, admitting mistake, hopefully we are more and more and more working on accountability and learning from mistakes, but that is that immediately I need to deflect the threat and put it on you and make you feel shame, because I cannot feel shame and be okay. If I feel shame, I don't know how to handle it. So the only way that I can handle it is to deflect it right back at you and make you feel bad, so then I am the superior and you're the idiot here. So that part of the manifestation, how this particular energy trigger gets in your way of manifestation, is that you learn nothing. Part of manifestation, especially when it comes to our big fat desires, to things that makes our heart sink, is when we grow and grow and grow and become the person who has that beautiful thing that we are trying to manifest. You've been put on this earth when you've been given the desire. In order for you to manifest that, there, the roadmap is that for you to grow to be that person who has that. That's been your path to having it. The way that, I don't know what my sleeves are doing here, but that has been why you've been put on this earth. But if you're learning nothing, because part of being accountable is being able to, when you make a mistake, to learn from it, to grow, to contemplate, to be able to say, I'm sorry when you're wrong, to take accountability. If you're not doing that, if everything is immediately someone else's fault, if you have that victim blame mentality, the knee-jerk reaction, because you can't hold those emotions, then that is one of the biggest obstacles for you to be able to actually manifest, because it goes completely, like, it's blocking your growth to becoming the person that you need to be. Because in our lives, we're going to go through a hell of a lot. The road to human life that we have experienced is not supposed to be a smooth drive with butterflies and unicorns and rainbows. No, in order for us, we've chosen this human life in order to experience it fully, and part of that comes from lessons and growth. And if we are not learning anything, then we're not growing, and if we're not growing, we're not a match for our biggest manifestations. Let me know if that makes sense. When my husband used to bring up money combos and I got triggered, I'd immediately accuse him of pressuring me or pestering me. But truly, I was felt triggered by my own stuff. Yes, my love. Yes. This is such a great talk. It came just in the right time for me. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So now we have covered, let me see how many more I have left. I think we can get through them all today. I'm excited. So the next archetype is also something that I had to work intensely through when I was going through my trauma-informed training. So I don't know if I mentioned, I have went through a really intense training. My facilitator was Jessica Penstock. She trained me for 6 months, and for the first 3 months of it, it was all about my own trauma, all my trigger response. So this is why I'm so familiar with my own archetypes, and of course working with my clients as well. But this one is the deeply emotional one, the one that feels so many things all at once. Whew. If you've ever had the experience that when you get mad, when you get upset, when you get frustrated, when you want to speak up, you start trembling on the inside and you can't speak anymore, and all is coming out is tears and your voice is shaking, and then you get frustrated because of all of this is happening, and you want to be strong but you can't be strong, and you hate yourself for it, and you want to, it's like a never stopping emotional roller coaster that is so overwhelming for the nervous system. It's like this person, like it or not, has no problem with vulnerability. She can be so vulnerable, but overly vulnerable in a non-regulated way, in a way that the most simple things that she wants to talk about and say, hey, I don't like this, or hey, I don't want this makes her feel deeply emotional. Normally, this happens to somebody who has had trauma around authority. So somebody that has authority, whether it came from a parent, whether it came from a teacher, whether it came from somebody that lived in a country that from a place of authority, that they were in that role that they could really harm you. This is what happens. This is why a lot of women from Middle East. I'm originally from Iran. I was born and raised there until I was 14. So in that environment, the authority nature of it created a shit ton of fear. And the whole aspect of speaking up was not safe. The whole aspect of being able to take a stand for something was not safe. And also a lot of this doesn't necessarily just go for the Eastern women, but a lot of them resonate with it a lot more, that male figures had all the authority. So a lot of them have their voices shaking when they want to take a stand with a man, when they want to speak their truth. And it's like, even though this person can't do anything to me, I mean, like I'm a 30, 40-year-old woman, but it still creates that shaking in me. And that trauma response is obviously coming from a lot of unresolved, unleashed emotions that has, um, when it comes to your nervous system, it's almost always on high alert. And when you are on high alert all the time, when you feel this um, massive threat all the time, and you kind of don't trust yourself either. Tell me if you resonate with this, if you're a deeply emotional person, is that I'm so scared for the floodgates to open and I can't control it and I don't trust myself, so I better shut my mouth and say nothing. And then I'm frustrated with myself for having to behave that way. It feels really exhausting and really overwhelming for the nervous system. And that goes in direct conflict with your manifestation, because again, in order to be manifesting consciously our deepest desires, not just a feather but something that is so big to us, it requires a calm, regulated nervous system more often than not. Every single one of us are going to get triggered, but the deep feelers, the ones that are highly emotional, they almost feel like at any second of every day, kind of like people pleasers, they have to be on high alert, and they're going to feel emotional. So their system is so overworked and so exhausted. And that's why manifestation in the subconscious level becomes really big, because the other part of it is that the thought of not having their desire manifested as well, the amount of sadness that they can also feel, the amount of heartbreak that they can feel, they just feel everything to the 100th degree. So that is also very intensified. The beauty of them, which I'm excited to share with you with all of them, is that they also can intensely feel the joy of having what they want to feel when they do have it. So they have that superpower. And every single, by the way, of these inner protectors have their shadows, which we were talking about, but they also have their gifts. They are protectors. They are good things that we actually brought into the world, um, to in order to be able to function. You're describing my mother completely right now. I'm actually a trip with her right now, and her deflector behavior is really triggering me. I'm so grateful for this video. You're so welcome, love. Hearing you describe this immediately made me begin tearing up. I truly relate. I feel you, girl. I feel you. And this information, by the way, this is really, truly to understand not just ourselves, but other people as well. I'm guilty as charged as some of the other archetypes, but this one I feel the most right now. Good, good. And you're not guilty, my love. These are just your trigger patterns. These are your inner protectors. And I tell you why I'm talking about all of this with you. So I have a very dear, dear friend that some of you might know. Her name is Mina Irfan, and we've been having a lot of conversations about a lot of things that is happening in our lives. And um, when it came to, this information that I'm sharing with you, that I was sharing with her, she really prompted me that this is the information that can really make a big difference in the world. This is the information, this is the kind of things that if we actually understood, if we actually understood ourselves, and then we were able to understand our children, our parents, our partners, our clients, our friends, then it's going to be very different than just operating in this world on an unconscious self, everyone trying to protect themselves and thinking that because I am a deep feeler, I am a more authentic person than a person that is, let's say, a frosty queen, that the person that avoids, that judgment starts to melt away. And another thing that was super important to me was this information. I don't know if any of you are here are coaches, but this information I believe wholeheartedly that it's needed to be understood by the coaching industry, because if you go about coaching every single person as if they're the same person with the same trigger archetype and pattern, someone with a dominating deflector trigger is not the same as a deep feeler. We are the exact opposite, the way that we operate in this world, the way that we show up in this world. And to be able to coach effectively people, that there is a person when they are saying I'm fine, when they're not fine, when they have gone into their frosty queen, for a coach to be like, oh, okay, that's great, and to move along, and or to get really mad and go to head with someone who's a dominating deflector and is coming at you with the fire, instead of being able to recognize that trauma response and actually help them, instead just to cut them off and say this person is just behaving outside of my boundaries and I need to cut them off out of my life, then we're not actually moving the needle. The coaching industry, I believe, has to understand people on a deeper level, all sorts of people, in order to be able to effectively help, in order to be able to actually make a shift and change. Because if we think that everybody is like me, if I entered this world and thought that the two archetypes that describe me the most are what, the deep feeler and the people pleaser, right? And if I expected every single one of my clients to be deep feelers and people pleasers, then I would be, there's 6 other archetypes that I'm not speaking to, that I'm not helping. And people might come and join my programs and sign up for my coaching, but I'm not actually helping them. I'm not creating a shift and change in them because I'm not actually understanding their experience. You as a coach and you as a mother and you as a partner can only really create a shift for your partner is when you can connect to the experience of that person who is in front of you. You can only, without judging them, without thinking that this person is just wrong, this person is just bad. This is why that when it comes to your when it comes to making a real shift and change in your life, it has to be understanding of why this person behaves a certain way. Now, I don't mean that you have to give everyone a break and somebody who's not willing to change and shift for you to just put up with it. Let's say that you're dealing with a dominating deflector that only blames you and only shames you and has no interest in shifting and changing whatsoever. I'm not saying that that's your responsibility, but someone who's coming to a coaching community, to a coaching container, 9 out of 10 times they're here to get help. They are here to be better in this world. Yeah. And as mothers and as sisters and as our friends, the best we could do is to actually try to be a facilitator and see if that person is willing, as a partner as well, to be able to have this wisdom and this knowledge in order to be able to actually see if they are willing to come along. But if we are only having our own experience and we think that that's the way, and a lot of us are also unaware of our own trigger experience, and we think our people pleasing tendencies comes from our very loving heart, heartfelt place, when it's actually a trigger response, then nothing is going to change. Yes, thank you for saying this. I used to feel left out of many coaching conversations because they were always speaking to the people pleaser and I couldn't relate. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, because that's it. Not everybody is a people pleaser. Not everybody is a frosty queen. Not we are have different, and granted, again, we could have different trigger responses to different people, but I've never been a dominating deflector, because that was the most dangerous thing for me to be. Not because I'm above it. Like, none of these archetypes are one is better than the other. Just don't get me wrong in any of that, please. But it is, what's really important is for us to realize and recognize where we need to work on and actually take the time to work on it. Okay, I'm so glad. Now the next archetype is the self tormentor. This is the type that makes everything her fault. Everything that is happening whenever she's triggered, it's because she is not good enough. She's an idiot. She's a burden. She's asking a stupid question. She should be further along. She is such a failure. She's never going to be lovable enough. She's never going to be successful enough. She is everything that is going on that triggers her. She finds a way to torment herself and make it her own fault. So again, the opposite of the deflector, this archetype makes everything about herself, of her inadequacy, and that she's not good enough, that she's not smart enough, lovable enough, pretty enough, young enough, old enough, tech savvy enough, good on the camera enough, whatever it is, she's not enough. Huge, huge problem when it comes to worthiness. Big blocks around being somebody that is worthy of having what she wants. And what happens if we are having that, when we are trying to manifest something big, when deep down my energy centers are saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, everything is my fault, I'm just a piece of, you know what? Not good things. We're not going to be an energetic match for, because with the desires that we have, the things that we want the most in life, we picture ourselves as worthy of them, as deserving of it, that I can receive it. Of course I can receive it. I'm worthy of receiving it. But someone whose energy goes right into I'm not enough, then goes into complete non-receptivity of their manifestation. Usually these people also, when it comes to manifesting small things, they also have issues around that. Because it's safer to blame self than self. Parents, caregiver, we don't want to make them wrong, because that feels even worse. You deserve an award for this, because that's exactly it. If I blame myself already, if I say, I have a stupid question. Sorry, I have a stupid question. It might be stupid. What am I doing? I am already declaring that I'm stupid. So if you even call my question stupid, it's not going to hurt as much anymore, even though it does. By being self-deprecating, by showing that I am already beating myself up with a stick, like, please don't beat me anymore. Please, like, if I talk down to myself, it's so much easier than if you talk down to me. If I say mean things about myself, oh, I look like shit today, I've gained so much weight, and then a guy that you like says that to you, which one hurts more? We think it's the guy if he tells us, but we are constantly hurting ourselves. We are constantly protecting ourselves, that if I keep beating myself up, if I keep blaming myself, if I keep being a victim and a martyr that is happening, like in this scenario, then other people are not going to hurt me. The standards for myself is already so low that nobody's going to hold me to higher standards, and therefore I'm safe. So this self-protector torments you. This self-protector makes you feel so bad on the inside that you're so prepared. Yeah, and you are having this notion that nobody, like, I'm in this insignificant, stupid little thing here, that nobody's going to want to hurt me anymore. That is the opposite of an energetic match for somebody with inner authority, that they're deserving of what they're going to receive. Yeah, good. 100%. Next, we have the drifter. The drifter is very much up in the la la land when she gets triggered. She disassociates from her surrounding. She is more interested in things that are not dealing with the reality that she's dealing with when she feels triggered. And it also can become a way of living. So a drifter is a lot of times scrolling on her phone, watching endless TV shows, binge watching all of them, very much away, escaping the present and the current reality. And the spiritual bypass ones, they also meditate 80 hours a day. And you would think that that's a good thing. And although avid lover of meditation, but if it's your escape because you can't deal with reality whatsoever, because you are, let me put it this way, that when it comes to manifesting, you will go and sit and visualize and meditate, but when it comes to taking actions, none of that is happening. You're drifting apart. You're just going away. You're just not present in this realm. And a huge part of the manifestation is the last step of it. It's the taking action. It's a taking action part that we have. We have a thought, we have a feeling, we take aligned actions, we receive, don't we? But drifters, the way that they get in the way of their own manifestation is because they just don't want to deal. Their systems are overly stimulated easily, and they are not in their body. They are all up and out, up and out. So you would experience them as having a blank gaze. They can't be focused. They can't be paying a lot of attention to what you have to say. So that archetype also happens when, just as an example, if something, when you may have had something, it might not be the only reason, obviously. It's nowadays with social media and with Netflix and all of that, it's just so easy to drift. It is so easy. But for somebody who has developed this early on, this might be a new thing that you have developed, but in early on is that something so traumatic happened that it was too overwhelming for the child to stay in the body. So she left the body and went to fantasy land. She just disassociated from her painful reality, that she just needed to leave, and she just needed to connect to something that wasn't as painful, so she couldn't feel the pain. So that is something that it could be developed from that aspect of it. But again, we live in a world right now that disassociating is so easy. It is so easy to be distracted. It is so easy to disconnect and go to Scroll Town and go to watch a show and just not do the things that you need to do in order to have your manifestations. It's just like, when it comes to taking actions, you feel confused, you're unfocused, and because you don't want to feel all of that, it feels too overwhelming, you plug out. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. All of these triggers, in one way or the other, they become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Do you see that? Thank you for bearing with me, ladies. I know this is long, but this is really important stuff that I wanted to talk to you about because I think this is the part that's missing in a lot of manifestation work. The last one that I want to talk about to you is the archetype that is a self-proclaimed intellectual show-off. So she's a show-off. But before telling you all of this, because I don't want to rush through the end of it, I do want to tell you that in August, I'm running two programs simultaneously. One is called Burning Desires, and it is specifically for women who have a burning desires. You're not there to manifest a parking spot. You're not there to get a free coffee. I'm talking about a true burning desire that this is, like I said at the beginning of this masterclass, that when you think of your life, when you think of um, you can't imagine not having it. You can't imagine it. It breaks your heart. And during this course, the Burning Desires, this is truly about giving you all the steps, the tools, the knowledge, the inner work that is going to prepare you to stay in your power when it comes to manifesting your burning desire. This is so that you don't go the back and forth. You don't go into the urgency. You don't go into focus on the lack. You don't, when things happen in your life that are the opposite signs of what you want happening, then you don't lose it. So, for example, if you are on a fertility journey and you are in, you're going and doing all these tests and your test doesn't look so good when you are really wanting to manifesting a baby, that the kind of news that you're going to get, they're not going to waver you. They're not going to derail you. They make you stay on the course because, like I said, for every single thing that you desire, there is an infinite possibility for it to happen, and there's infinite possibility for it not to happen. I'm not going to sugarcoat that for you. It doesn't mean if you want something, it's going to happen. It only means that if you want something, it is going to happen if you stay in that frequency. If you stay in that frequency, it is going to happen. And we're also the program is going to be ran through 3 weeks. And at the end of every 2 modules, we're going to have a coaching call so I can actually talk to you. You can ask me any questions, get coached by me directly so that it becomes really cemented and you can actually get personalized in a group setting coaching so that you know what you need to be focusing on, what we need to tweak and help you with. There's going to be 6 modules that all the information is in the description box, but I can actually post it in the chat for you as well if you want to check out. But don't just go yet, because I want you to also know that Munira, I'm going to come back and answer your question, darling. The second program that it's not a program actually, it's an intensive. And this is, I am literally creating this program intensive because like I said, speaking to Mina at the beginning, like I said, it is something that we're going to go through every single one of these archetypes that we talked about in much depth, in a lot of details. We're going to be talking about, and it's going to be an intensive that is run through 2 days. And then we have another day to go through coaching and really personalized help. And I don't care if there's 100 people in that program. I will spend the coaching day, entire day, to make sure every single one of you receive the coaching, receive the answers that you need, because this work is the most important part of the work. So it would be impossible for me to include this part of the work in the burning desires, because I have prepared about 7 hours of lecture already for that particular thing. Forget about the coaching aspect of it. And in that work, which is called Inner Dawn Trigger Mastery Intensive, this is about being really understanding of your trigger pattern, knowing if somebody in your life has that trigger pattern, what is going on with them, and what you can do to facilitate, not necessarily, not, I don't want to call it heal them, but be somebody that through your knowledge and wisdom and your tools are able to come out of their trigger responses. And if you yourself have the trigger response, what to do, how to heal it, how to work with it, how to manage it, how to be able to actually get yourself into a regulated nervous system as quickly as possible. No, we are all going to have trigger responses. If we don't have trigger responses, then we are not having a human experience, because remember, your trigger responses are your protectors. Your protectors are meant to help you to be able to function in this world and not get hurt. Because if you don't have inner protectors, if you are constantly vulnerable in this world, then you are very prone to getting hurt all the time. But what we're going to be doing is to be able to work with your trigger response, because the last part of each archetype that you're going to learn is its gifts and its shadows. So you're going to know what you need to do the work on, and you're also going to learn how to actually understand the gifts of your trigger archetype. Because guess what? The person that has the gift of, let's say, that rebellious archetype, that I don't need anyone, I can rebuild this all over again, I can have a new friendship all over again. Can you see how resilient that person is? The gift of resilience that that person has, that they are not going to go down. They don't have a victim bone in their body, but what they have is a lot of resilience. However, if they continue to not work with their trigger and constantly cut people off and restart and cut people off and restart, there's not a lot of growth in that. But when they learn how to not cut people off when it's not necessary, they can use that resilience to constantly build and get more and more and more powerful. Or a deep feeler, what the gift of a deep feeler is that her incredible power of compassion that she has in this world. A deep feeler, when you are with them, when they are in the gift of it, not the shadow, when their system is not overwhelmed, you will receive a world of love from that person that makes you feel unstoppable, that makes you feel it's not a mother love, it is a love with power that comes with that. And so with that, you get to, with the gift of it, you get to direct that love to yourself and to other people all around and move forward. So every one of your trigger archetypes has shadows and has gifts. There is a lot that you need to learn about how to spot them within yourself, within other people, how to deal with a person with that trigger archetype, and how to ask for the things, if there is things that you need from others, or the tools that you need to specifically have for yourself to regulate your own nervous system to come back to the neutral. Because in all of that cases, it truly is going to make you better human beings. And when I say you, I mean us. When you are working with your trigger archetypes, when you are dealing with teenagers, which are trigger bombs, with a parent that triggers the hell out of you, with a partner, with a boss, with a coworker, when you are able to understand yourself and understand them, to give them what they need and to give yourself what they need, this is all going to be creating the world a better place. And like I said, for coaches. So something that I want you to know for the coaches, that this particular masterclass is for everybody. What we're going to be doing intensive, I should say, because it's not a masterclass, it's pretty intensive. But I promise you that I'm going to make it as fun. It's going to be fully interactive. It's not me talking at you. It's going to be a lot of reflections, a lot of work together. And there's also going to be demos. As you're working through your trigger archetypes, I'm going to be working with you directly in order to be bring whoever wants to come up to show you how to diffuse, how to somatically work, because a lot of my working, my trauma informed practitioner Jessica Benstock was to learn to actually use the body to diffuse the trigger, to diffuse the trauma response, and to heal it actually. So you'll learn all of that. And we will also have, like I said, our day of coaching session that I should really say, like it's a workshop, coaching session, demo, all of those things. So this particular intensive is for everybody, because I really believe that everybody needs that, especially if you deal with other human beings with emotions. But then we are also going to have a longer program that is specific for coaches, because I am here to change the coaching industry for the better. I am here to help coaches who deal with incredible human beings like yourselves, who want to be better in this world, to actually be able to help someone with their triggers, not to use their triggers against them, not to be unaware of their triggers and traumatize them. This is a very vulnerable share, but you may have heard me say this before. But the reason I became trauma informed was because a coach that I was working with didn't recognize that what they were doing was traumatizing me. So we were at an event, and at that event, the coach had a very Tony Robbins style to go, I don't know if you've ever seen it, to get in my face and try to extract an answer out of me that I didn't have. And with a people pleaser who wants to tell you what you want to hear, and has intense fear, and a deep feeler who has intense fear of authority, a person of authority, when that coach came at me with that energy, I it was one of the most painful moments of my life. It was so painful that for the next 10 months, I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. I had to force myself out of bed. It was some of the hardest times of my life. But what I ended up doing was to then recognize, well, a lot of research with what's wrong with me, to find out that that's what's happened, and then to go into intense training to become trauma informed. So I would never do that to a client unknowingly. I'm not saying that coach chose to re-traumatize me. It was her unawareness, because she was not informed, because she couldn't recognize that what she was doing was not helping, but she was actually activating a trauma response that was so intense that made me go into complete disassociation, because I actually blacked out. I don't remember what happened after it. I just remember when it was done, I was on the floor shaking. And that was the reason that I with all my heart decided that I'm never going to do this to someone else. I'm never doing having this kind of work. Is we are we have to be responsible. We have to be more responsible, because we're dealing with human emotions. We are dealing with powerful women with feelings. It doesn't give us the right to bypass that. So that's why after Inner Dawn, which is for the public, I'm going to be creating a course for coaches to become freaking amazing coaches that are not going to traumatize unknowingly their clients, and they're going to actually use the information to empower their clients so they can actually get the shifts, the transformation they need. Because if information was going to change us, we would all be changed in this day and age, wouldn't we? If information with the abundance of books and audiobooks and YouTube was going to do it for us, we would all be transformed by now. That's not it. It's a transformation happens in in the kind of container that we can work through all of that together. So I'm so glad. Thank you for saying that, Crystal. Thank you. On music. Thank you so much, my love. You know what? As heartbreaking and awful that it was, when you look at it from in the hindsight, I used what happened to me to my benefit. I could have fallen into a victimhood. I could have started, you know, a channel to hate on that coach, to hate and, tarnish her name and say mean things. But I used that energy to go learn a completely different set of tools that not only changed my life, healed my past trauma, but it added an immense amount of tools into my toolbox to now I can be helping my clients. And for that, I'm forever grateful. When, if I was a deflector, that wouldn't have worked. But this is something that a whole, live stream can be based on, is that use the things that happened in your life. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's not your fault. What happened with that coach with me wasn't my fault. But my responsibility was then, now what am I going to do with this? Now what am I going to do with this? Now that this happened, how am I going to use my time? Am I going to start on the quest of, I hate coaching industry and I want nothing to do with it anymore? I will never work with another coach, close my heart fully. Was I going to start a lawsuit or go after the coach and make everyone else, jump on the bandwagon with me? No. I said, how can I be better because of this? What can I do to be better because of this? And I have a good feeling. And I think my clients can say that it did make me a better coach because of that. And the intensive is called Inner Dawn. So if you are only interested in Inner Dawn, you can go ahead and get that. I'm going to put the, sorry, I'm coughing a lot, but in the chat. However, come on. If you have already bought Burning Desires and you want this program as well, get in touch with me. I'm going to give you an incredible bundle so you can have both. If you haven't bought any of them and you want both of them, again, get in touch with me. I'm going to give you an incredible bundle so you can have both. It is going to be over $1,000 discount. If you are only interested in one or not the other, by all means, go for it. They're both still on early bird price. And you are going to really benefit from both of them. It's just that Inner Dawn is something that, like I said, was really created because I think that my intention for it is to give it my absolute all and run it and run it, run it, run it, run it until I can do my work in this world, which is to help incredible women, powerful women, to use their powers for the good, to manifest what they desire, and in the meantime, become the most healed version of themselves, to be conscious human beings, kind human beings to themselves and everyone around them. And I can't tell you how many clients I've had, private clients, that this type of work revolutionized their relationship with their children, with teenagers especially, with their parents, and with their partners. I had a client that she told me she's been with a partner for over 15 years. And after the first session, she experienced him opening up in such a way that over the 15 years that they've been together, she hadn't experienced yet. So I don't take this work lightly. Like I said, if you want both of them, get in touch with me. Don't buy them separately because I'm going to be giving you a huge discount on that. Okay, I know Manira had a question. Once you manifest all that we wanted, how do we not sabotage it? I manifest most of what I think of I want, but the important stuff, I end up losing it. So, my love, I want you to take a look at and see if within the archetypes that I talk about, that if there is an unworthiness part of it. There is an unworthiness part of that. If I keep it, I'm not worthy of keeping it. Or if there is a part of that, if I keep it, something bad is going to happen if I keep it. If I keep it, I'm going to piss someone off. If you have the people pleaser archetype, if I have it all, then my friends are going to be jealous of me. If I make more money than my parents ever did, that would make me bad. I don't want to overshadow. See something that what makes your manifestation it's safer for you, so your inner protector, it is safe for it to lose it as opposed to keep it, or if there is any unworthiness in it, and let me know. So the last archetype that I want to talk about, thank you, Crystal, that means the world to me. Thank you. You're gonna make me emotional. So the intellectual show off, this is the last archetype that is very, very smart sounding. She is quick to go into her head when she's triggered. And you see this a lot with politics, by the way. When I personally have noticed it a lot. If somebody has a different opinion when it comes to politics, if you are an intellectual show off, you have the tendency to get on your high horse and to start to speak to this person in such a way that wants to show your superiority. If you know that that person may not have as big of a vocabulary that you do, you purposely put in words that you know they might not understand, so they would feel even more stupid. And you have this polite but sharp tone, the condescending tone. And this doesn't have to just be politics. This could very well be a man that you're dating and he says something that you start to, that triggers you. So you immediately go into showing how smart you are and how dumb he is. You go immediately into pulling from your vast knowledge, your intellect. If you're super educated, you pull from there to make that person feel like they are less than you. And tell me if you resonate or if you experience anyone that does that to you. This is very common when in a lot of my Asian clients, and not just Asian, this is again goes worldwide, but in a lot of Asian clients, I have noticed that because they have been very much praised for their studies, for being good at school, that their defense mechanism is to use that, they're smart, as I am above you, I'm higher than you, I know more than you. This separation, that you're below me, I'm above you, gives the sense of superiority, which masks deep insecurities. The insecurity that I am, when I feel threatened, all I have is my intellect, so I have to overuse it. I have to make sure that you don't see my vulnerability. I have to make sure that you understand that I am better than you, so you don't come near me anymore. You know your place. This know-it-all archetype, this I'm better than you, I'm above you, I'm superior to you because of what I know or what I do, not because of who I am, not because of my heart, not because of my vulnerability, has this energetic insecurity anchored in. this big ball of insecure feelings that this person is very disconnected from her heart. She is very guarded in her heart, but all head and brain. And the energetics of manifestations all come from our heart. If there is one thing that I know is that the fastest way for you to be able to manifest something is to use the power of your heart, not your brain, not your thoughts. It's your heart. Me, but I genuinely didn't know I do this until recently. It is a learned defense response from my family growing up with a very intellectual father. Yes. When we have a father, when we have a parent figure that they are super intellectual, it is very much also comes to, we see that parents say that a lot, because I said so, because don't question me, because I am here, you are here. If you have a parent like that, and I can definitely resonate with that, is that my word goes. Whatever I say, it is so. Do not question. Do not say anything in return. That creates this trauma response in us, whether we are the recipient of it, we become people pleaser, or we become just like them. So in order for me to have power, in order for me to be able to assert my power to other people, is that I need to sound smart. I need to make them not just sound smart, but make them feel stupid. So that becomes that way I'm safe, because feeling stupid feels really, really bad. That made me feel stupid. I don't like feeling that way. So in order for me to protect myself, I may have to make sure that I'm never in that position again. So I need to be a know-it-all. I need to be an intellectual show-off. And that way it is much safer. So again, masking insecurity, masking the feelings of I'm not good enough as I am. I'm good enough for what I know. And I need to make sure that nobody questions that. So that trigger response, again, that comes from insecurity, and insecurity not in alignment with big desires. When we feel insecure, when you're feeling insecure about yourself, of who you are, with who innately you are, and this is the module 2 in burning desires, where we're going to be working on that, then that makes the biggest difference in your manifestation. Your manifestation is not going to come from your intellect. It's good to have an intellect that understands things, but it's never going to work if it's not connected to the heart. Ha, that's what they said. It was his way to both my siblings, and I adopted this condescension as protection. I totally relate to that. Yes, my loves. Wow. Well, we covered a lot. We're almost at 2 hours. I hope this was enlightening to you. I hope that you take the time. If you're watching it on the replay, I would love to hear your reflections on this. I would love to hear what archetypes you resonate with, how you identify within yourself and other people around you. And one thing that I want to invite you in is that if you have the tendency to see a lot of things in other people and not within yourself, and you're now more focused on what your husband is doing, what your mother is doing, what your sister is doing, but it's not really like you're not first, then that's another protection mechanism that is coming forward, that it's kind of going outward and trying to fix other people and not you. So there's a little bit of deflecting going on there. So I want to invite you back in to really take a look at what's going on in within you. Yeah. And if you want to take this work into a next level, I really want to invite you to join in Burning Desires. We're still on, like I said, on the early bird for both programs. And I think that when you go through these programs, and if you do the work, because my work, my type of work is not information. There is information, but a lot of it is actually um, having actual tools that you're going to incorporate to change, that you're going to get a lot out of it. If I could make everyone in the world to do the inner dawn, I would. But I have to be honest with you, in the wrong hands, you could do a lot of harm with this information. In the wrong because you could use people's triggers against them. You could be using someone's insecurities against them. And I don't want that. I really don't want that. I want people who are joining this intensive to have the mentality that I want to be better, do better. I want to be better for myself. I want to be better for my family. I want to be better for society. I just want to be better. Nowadays, we see so much easily thrown around comments, people online, keyboard warriors that say really hurtful, mean things to other people that deeply, deeply hurt and cut deep. Online bullying with not just us, for teenagers, of how accessible it is for them to be harassing each other, online bully one another. And I think it starts with us, for us to be better mothers, to be better women, raise the awarenesses, and really help the people around us to stop acting out of triggers and open our hearts more, open our compassion towards ourselves more, and do better in this world. So I hope that I get to see you in either both programs or one of the programs. If you have any questions, you can email us at questions@fullyadore.com, or get in touch with me on any of the social media, Instagram, Facebook. My team and myself are there to answer your questions. But I would love, love, love to learn more about what you're here for and what you want to get out of these. And also, something that I want you to know, I adore you too, is that these programs, these are the first times that I'm running them, both of them, in this context. Like, I've been working with these programs with my private clients, with my group coaching forever and ever. But teaching it in this perspective is the first time. So these are all going to be co-created with you. You will have a lot of input. You will have a lot of insight for me to, I want this, I don't want that, this helps, this doesn't help. So your feedback is going to be instrumental in this to me as well. I love you, and I will see you on the internet very soon. Bye.